Hi, in this video we're going to talk about how to do a free background check in the state of Kentucky. To get started, visit KentuckyPublicRecords.com. I'll have a link in the description. You can click on that or just type this into your browser. On the homepage you'll find quite a few public record databases. These can be very useful when it comes to doing background checks, and I'll get into that in the first part of the video, and then of course in the second part of the video I'm going to look at how you can research criminal record information. This video is about general background checks and the official resources you have within the state of Kentucky to do these checks, and I'm going to focus particularly on what's free in this video. And it's just for everyday types of situations for just regular people. Anything from looking up landscaper, babysitter, maybe a date, maybe getting into a financial relationship or a business relationship with somebody, maybe just doing a quick lookup on the neighbors. It could be anything, just checking out the neighborhood, just pretty much anything that you can think of. You can find some type of a database that you can utilize in Kentucky and do a quick check. So we're going to go over those. And let's start with the public record databases. So for example, if you have a big job, maybe a big remodeling job you're about to do, and you're looking for the right contractor that you can trust your money with. So you could look up a contractor by license, or you could even research business records. So you can come in here, select the appropriate category, or you can come in here and type a business name, and you want to look for things like how long is there an actual license or a business there. For example, who is the owner, does the owner match up with whoever you're talking to? Sometimes there's some shady stuff going on nowadays. You can see how long they've had the business for, or how long they've had the license for. Maybe if they just got it 2 weeks ago, do you really want to hand over a good chunk of money for a big project? Maybe not. Maybe you want somebody with a little more experience. You could look for things like, are they paying their fees on time? Are they organized when it comes to things like that? So there's quite a few things you could get at the state level. Are they in trouble maybe with the state? Maybe there are some complaints, things like that. Just you could look up things like that. And another thing you could do is you can research court records, and specifically maybe civil and small claims types of cases. So you could check the actual company and maybe the owner of the company, and see if maybe a vendor or a previous customer took them to court, and there's a lawsuit that relates to the job maybe that they did. And so in that situation, it might make you reconsider, do I really want to work with this individual? Or maybe everything will be fine, and it'll give you a peace of mind knowing that you're maybe working with a solid individual. So let's jump to. So there's quite a few ways. It doesn't just have to be for a contractor. You could check your dentist. You could check your real estate agent, your gardener. Like I said, you can even check your neighbors, somebody you're going on a date with. There's so many ways you could use these databases with. And let's talk about criminal records now. And no matter what kind of background check there is, and there are many different types of background checks for many different situations, criminal background checks are probably the backbone of pretty much just about any one of them. And so let's get into that. So if you hover over other records, you can click on inmate search. And so a criminal record begins at the point of arrest. So you have your sheriff's department or the police department. They arrest somebody, and then they charge them with a crime. And then what will happen is they'll take them to county jail. They will go through the booking process, get their mugshot taken, fingerprints taken. They'll get identified officially. They will be charged with a crime. Now, it doesn't mean that they're guilty, but there is a record that has been created. And so a lot of times you can, certain counties will actually have databases. Not every single one. It depends on the sheriff's department if they choose to, but you're able to look at some of this arrest information. So like you have your identifying information, mugshot, and then of course you have the charge. So it's going to be different from county to county. Some of them make it pretty easy to research this information. Some of them don't. So keep that in mind. Then they will either post bail. Sometimes they'll be released. Sometimes they'll have to stay in jail until they see a judge. But everybody has to see a judge. And that's where majority of the criminal information is captured, is at the court level. So whether they're guilty or not guilty, there's still going to be a record created. And you have, as you can see, I hovered over other records, clicked on court information, court records, and there's a special page. You have Supreme Court, Court of Appeals, Circuit Court, District Court. Now, the Supreme Court and the Court of Appeals, typically you don't necessarily need to research these databases. These are cases that don't get decided at the lower level courts. They get pushed up. But majority of the cases are going to be done Circuit Court, especially if you're looking for like criminal information, things like that, and then District Court. Now, another thing is we are just talking about criminal records, but backgrounds in general, court records are a great tool. I mean, you could check, let's say you're going on a date, you want to see if somebody has been divorced. Like, every single divorce has to go through a judge. Anytime somebody sees a judge, it creates a court document. Court documents are considered public information. So there's so many things you can find, like things like evictions, traffic violations, if you're interested in someone's driving history, things like that. Small claims, like if you're trying to look up a business, civil. Okay, so let's take a look at one of these databases, and they have one you can get basic information for free, and then they have your more official ones, and these are going to cost, and it looks like they collect court information from 120 Kentucky counties, and the state does charge you $25 for that. So just FYI. Now this is how much. I'm going to show you the free database that they offer, and you can see how much information they display when it comes to court records. If I can get through this. Okay, so here we go. You can select, for instance, civil, criminal, drug court. I'm going to select, you could select all. I'm just going to do criminal. You have different levels here of case type. You could do statewide, or you could research by a specific location. I'm just going to go ahead and try this. Alex Smith, no, let's do John. Okay. Hit search, and this will pull up any criminal information with this name. So they don't really give you too much information, but at least they let you know that they have been in court. You have your next scheduled dates, things like that. Now there's quite a bit of records here, so you can even find older ones here. So you could be more specific if you had like a birth date, things like that. So it eliminates all the unnecessary individuals there. And if you wanted more information, because this is the extent of the free search that Kentucky allows, and pretty much most other states, they will give you much more information. I don't know why Kentucky. There's a couple of states in the U.S. that just aren't very flexible when it comes to this. But they do give you an option. You can click like on a criminal record check, but again, it just takes you to that paid search. So if you want a complete record of this, they do require a payment. So just FYI, but you can research cases here, active and inactive. One thing that happens after court, when somebody is pronounced guilty, not guilty, if they're guilty, they might pay a fine. Sometimes they'll have to serve time. If it's not like a very severe crime, it'll typically be served out at a local jail. So sentences like for a few months, typically under 12 months. If it's something more severe, like over 12 months, sentence will be over 12 months. They will go to a prison instead of a jail. And so I'm going to hit on inmate search again. And so instead of checking the county jails, I'm going to check the Kentucky Department of Corrections. This is the department that runs the prison facilities. And so here you're able to research individuals that have been in and out of the prison system. and I'll just pull up a couple here. You get a mugshot. You have some identifying information, and then it looks like conviction here information. It looks like they've been in one time. Looks like they got a year to serve here. This individual has been, looks like there's a couple of different crimes here that they were sentenced for. Okay, same thing here, just one time. And then in some cases you have multiple, so if they've been in and out, for instance, this individual looks like charged in conviction date or crime date 2012, convicted in 2013, and then it looks like he had, wow, there was a crime date 1966, convicted in 2013. So as you can see, these are pretty detailed pages, and again, I didn't have to pay or even register for this database, and these would be pretty much the offenders with the most severe crimes that get to serve over a year in prison. So another database to look into. One more thing you want to consider when doing criminal related types of checks is the sex offender registry, and this is also a statewide database. You can research by address, so if you want to check around a specific location, or if you want to look up a name, you can also, if you got a name, you can also just type in a name, and again, it's free and it's a statewide database. So with that said, you have multiple tools that you can utilize to do a free background check. It is a little bit more difficult with court records, I admit. But you do have at least some options out there, at least some basic information, even at the court level that they let you use for free. But it is what it is. You got to work with what you got, and you also have all these public databases that you can utilize, which I have demonstrated in the beginning of the video. One more thing to consider is the name search on top, and this database is not free, but it's a great one, and it might be useful, something to look into. So it pulls records, public records, court records, real estate information, criminal information, arrest information, financial records, things maybe potentially bankruptcies, potentially lawsuits, financial lawsuits, things like that. Has private databases as well. Things like cell phone numbers, previous addresses, and it doesn't just pull records from Kentucky. It goes outside the state and pulls records from multiple states, kind of giving you almost like a nationwide look into someone's historic past. And then they take all those databases and compile them into a single search system. So you're almost looking at information instantaneously. So it saves you a great deal of time. And another cool part is people do move around nowadays. So let's say like somebody has a record in Louisiana or maybe in the state of Oregon, and then now they're living in Kentucky. If you're just checking county records or state records within Kentucky, you're not necessarily going to see what happened in those other states. So it's a great tool to kind of figure out previous addresses, look into databases that you might not even be considering, and save some time while you're at it. So check it out. This might be a great tool in your background checking arsenal. So with that said, visit KentuckyPublicRecords.com and get started on your free background check in the state of Kentucky. Thank you.